Welcome back to Light Beyond the Ashes, the podcast where science meets spirituality and awakening becomes embodied. I'm your host, Amber Humphrey. This episode will change how you understand manifestation and how you see reality itself. Today, you'll meet Rosemarie Bodrucki, also known as Rome Wilde, a spiritual guide, author, and visionary artist who creates neurological rewiring poetry designed to bring you back to your center and awaken your intuitive power. From the age of 5, Rosemarie knew there was more. Her spiritual awakening began early, and once she discovered the power of the mind and the energy that moves through and around us, everything changed. She learned that reality is not something we wait for. It's something we participate in, co-create, and embody. Her latest book, Money Honey, is a powerful collection of money manifestations that helps anchor abundance into the nervous system, not just the mind. She's also the host of the Joy Channel podcast, streaming everywhere. In this conversation, we explore intuition, energy, miracles, and what becomes possible when you remember you were never meant to struggle. You were meant to create. If this episode resonates with you, like and subscribe to continue deepening your awareness with us. This isn't just a listen, it's a remembering. Welcome back to Light Beyond the Ashes, the podcast where we talk about all things spirituality and healing. And on this week's episode, we have the one and only Rosemarie Francis, aka Rome Wilde on TikTok. She's an incredible poet, author, and public speaker, sharing her poetry for the whole world to see, and really a performer. So thank you so much, Rosemarie, for being on the episode today. I'm so happy to have you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love being here.
Girl, your poetry is so amazing. And I've been watching you just thrive. And before we got on, I told you, I was like, I'm seeing you just shine and embody this true, confident, most authentic version of yourself. So tell the world a little bit about who you are and how we got to this moment. And then we'll dive into your own spiritual awakening and what that was like.
Amazing. So, my name is Rosemarie Francis. I perform a lot under the name Rome Wilde because it's fun. And my journey began as a child. I started receiving wisdom and knowledge at a very young age and applying it. I've always been very connected with my art. I've always loved playing and painting and enjoying that. You can see the art behind me is my own. And what I am here to do in the world at this time, I believe our purpose is what we choose it to be. And what feels most authentic for me is to play and have fun and bring joy, to remind us all of the beauty that we get to access at any time, and to remind people to watch the stories that we're telling. So many times in the artistic community, in the creative community, in the spiritual community, people will talk about being blocked. And I very much want to remind everyone, you're the creator. You're not blocked. You can only ever create that you're having a block. So
Yep.
instead, pull back that focus and recognize, oh, I'm creating. So let me just create the story the way I want it to be.
And I think that's so true because when we first met, I think we just had like a one-on-one consultation. I can't even remember how we first started talking. I think it was through TikTok, through connections. But when you met with me, you're like, you need to be careful about the words that you're saying. You're manifesting, you're creating. And I was creating so much struggle at that point in time. I guess my soul had so much to learn. And when you gave me that perspective of your words are spells, be careful what you're saying, and how you on your TikTok, when I see you, you're always like, I am always in power and everything is always working out for me. Like you're always having these super positive mantras and you say them over and over again. And I sit there and I listen to it and I'm like, she's right. Like I am in control. I am able to create the life of my dreams. And I just wonder, how did you get to be where you had that much confidence that we are truly the creator in this whole game?
Excellent question. And it's because I experienced the extreme opposite. So the words that I was sending through my body for many years were, I hate my life. I'm in so much pain. My body has betrayed me. Everything sucks. And then you die. And what I manifested through that level of consciousness was extreme body pain, fibromyalgia, nerve pain all over my body, car accidents, nerve damage, spine damage, osteoarthritis at a very young age, 35 different allergies, etc. And I literally got myself to a point where I was immobile. I could not move. I could not lift my head for more than a few minutes without extreme pain, without dizziness, losing consciousness, etc. And that had been after 4 years of injury from a car accident. And so my muscles were super tight, kept tearing things. That was part of why my neck wasn't being supported at the time, is because shit back here tore. I had gone to doctors to try and get help and everything. And they were basically like, well, if it hasn't healed by now, it's not going to heal. And you're just going to keep getting worse and worse till you die. I was in my early 20s when I got that diagnosis. And that is a tough pill to swallow. So by the time I was 26 and my body was on fire and I couldn't move from my bed, I had exhausted all podcast listening options for myself at the time. I didn't want to listen to another single thing, didn't want to hear any words. I finally turned it all off and I was silent with myself. And I realized that I was holding my body really, really tight. I'd been laying down for months, but my body was so tight and so tense. It's like I was being chased by a bear. And I have a background in psychology and biology. So I was like, oh, hey, if you are this stressed out, your body is not repairing at the rate that it can be. So I decided to do some progressive muscle relaxation and relax my body. And I got my body relaxed to a certain point. And then a thought came in. I was feeling much more relaxed. And then a thought came in, and it was either I hate my life or I have to get up and do something. My body immediately tightened right back up. And it was in that moment, all my physics, chemistry, biology classes overlaid with my knowledge of energy and how energy works. And suddenly I realized, oh my gosh, okay, I'm having thoughts, or rather, I'm receiving thoughts. And that thought is then firing information through my body, firing electrical impulses, which is signaling a cascade of neurotransmitters and different proteins, and literally telling my cells how to behave, telling my muscles to tighten up, telling us that we're under attack, telling us that we are not safe.
Mm.
And my body is only responding to what I've been thinking. If my body is responding this way to these thoughts, what are some thoughts that I could think that my body would respond differently to? So I started playing around, and at first I was like, fuck, I don't even know how to feel joy at this point. And I was like, I did what I usually do, which is I'm like, please give me something, bring me something. And then a couple minutes later, a friend texted me. And it was the perfect friend for the moment, because she was a little bit younger than me, and I just felt she was so sweet and innocent that I had like no resentment, no nothing at all. Like it was just like pure love. So she texted me, and I looked at my phone and I just smiled and felt my heart light up. And I was like, oh my God, that's the feeling. Okay. So I started mining for joy and being like, okay, let me breathe. Let me think of Becca's face and smile and like, just like think of like how sweet she is, and breathing and being like, oh my God, she's so innocent. She deserves all the love. And then I was like, oh my gosh, if she deserves it, I deserve it. If I can think about her this way, I can think about me this way. And so then it became a period of a few weeks where I was deeply relaxing my body and doing emotional processing and playing around with like saying good things to myself and seeing the effects of like, okay, clearly this works. Clearly this is changing. And then one day I was like, I had like pain come up, and I was like, nope, fuck this. I'm not doing this again. Sorry for swearing. I was like, no, we're not doing this actually. I realized that, like with wave signals, constructive versus destructive interference. Like I was like, if I want to shift the signal, if I want to shift what my body is holding, I need to really flood it and saturate it with this new pattern. So I started breathing and relaxing, and I realized quickly that saying I'm healing doesn't put you in the healed state. It keeps you in healing. I'm healing, I'm healing, I'm healing. I'm constantly healing, never healed. Constantly healing, never healed. Sucks. Some people might call that a hanging healing. I also realized that if I said I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed, my body responded with a level of stress too, because it was like, okay, well, I had an injury to heal from. So it still was entangled with that. So what I ended up settling on was My body has always been perfect. I feel so good. My body has always been perfect. My body has always been perfection. Everything's amazing and I love my life. So I put on frequency music. I breathed. I relaxed my body. And I started playing a game with myself. I was repeating those. I would notice if I started repeating it in a way that felt stressy, I was like, ooh, that's not the energy that we're cultivating. Let me pull back, slow down. What's the actual energy of it? Oh, actually, I'm tired of repeating that right now. What do I want to do? I'm already healed, so what am I doing? I knew at that point that when you replay images, your body experiences it, which is why people with PTSD experience the trauma again and again. And
Right.
conversely, with pleasure, you get to experience it again and again. So I was like, okay, visualized and felt myself running on the beach. I allowed myself to feel the impact of my feet on the ground. I allowed myself to feel the strength of my legs. And then I put myself in the water. I allowed myself to body surf in my mind, but feel it fully, immerse fully in the experience that I had had for so many years. Swimming, feeling the strength of my arms pulling me, feeling the lift of the water carry me up, feeling the air on me, feeling the water, feeling the sand, feeling the sunlight. It was like a combination of all the elements and my spirit in joy. And so I let myself feel that and fully immerse in that and realized I can feel so much pleasure. So then I began playing that game of how much pleasure can I feel? How can I just, what would be even more pleasurable to think about in this moment? Oh, now I'm dancing. Now I'm climbing a mountain. Now I'm doing all these things. Now I'm flying in outer space and feeling it, which heavily informed my art, which came about a few days after that. Really, I started popping the cork on my art again. So I locked in and I affirmed those things. I visualized those things. I made my life about pleasure, about feeling really good. And then in 18 hours, I was standing up, washing a dish at the sink. And what came out of my mouth was, everything's amazing and I love my life. Everything's amazing and I love my life. And, a couple weeks earlier, what had come out of my mouth while washing dishes would have been, I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain. And so it was such a stark contrast, stark difference that I was like, oh my gosh, this is working. So I continued. I locked in for the rest of the 3 days and I just really fully let myself immerse in that. And I noticed too, when things would come up of like disbelief or like talking to people about it and having them be like, oh, well, you're not like whatever, whatever doubt and disbelief. I had to like cut it off, not talk to them, just lock in. I didn't talk to my family at all those few days. Like, I was just like, nope, this is about me and my wellness. I'm not going to have any conversations. I used to have conversations. People would be like, how are you? And I'd be like, well, this is wrong with me and that's wrong with
Mhm.
me and this pain and that pain and this struggle and all, blah, blah, blah. And like all this stuff, which was my lived experience at the time. But I realized like I am casting this energy through my body and through everyone else. I'm pulsing it through the universe. The universe can only respond to me. I am the one who is telling it what to do. There's infinite iterations of reality and I've chosen one of suffering. And so I get to choose one of pleasure. And so that's when I started realizing I can feel joy at any moment. I created the Joy Channel meditation, which is what I started my podcast with, of choosing to feel joy. And I began making art again. My body was healed. And all of a sudden it was like, I realized that when I would breathe, I would start to see colors. If I tuned into a specific energy, like I'd tune into love, tune into joy, I'd start to see colors in my mind. And I was like, oh my God, this is so pretty. I want to paint this. So I started painting a series of just like abstract energy moving. And I realized that with these different energies, I'd get like a different goddess name coming. So it was like the goddess series that I did. It was really fun. And then I started doing outer space stuff because, again, I mentioned I enjoyed flying in outer space when I was recovering from the injury. And I really, really chose to commit to the new story because the alternative is believing the old story. And if you keep flip flopping back, if you at all are like, well, I tried, trying is not doing, babe. You didn't carry it across the finish line. You kind of carried it a little bit and then said like, well, it didn't work in this amount of time, so I guess I'm just going to be in pain forever.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it resonates so deeply because even though I know these things and you've helped me know these things, I'm literally sitting here thinking about how all week I've had such severe back pain. And I'm like, oh my God, my back hurts. My back hurts so bad. I'm like, I'm standing and my back hurts. And I just want to be horizontal versus speaking life into my body. And I was working with someone yesterday with energy healing, and she's going through her cancer journey and she's in a lot of pain. And I was just speaking life into her. And she was like, you're the only person who speaks life into me. And I was like, words or spells or magic. And then I go home and I'm like, my back hurts so bad. My back versus being like, like I am healthy, I am whole, my body is perfect.
Mm,
The power of your mind. It's like I had an Ayurvedic mentor one time tell me that the universe has no other choice but to agree with you.
right.
So when you're putting something out into the universe is like, sure. Yeah, you want more suffering? Sure. That sounds great. That's what your soul is choosing. Oh, you want to feel peace and love and harmony? Oh, sure. Like it's everything is net neutral until you assert it, meaning or you are really putting your intention to it. And it's like when you're saying, I'm in severe pain, or this is wrong in my life, or I don't have enough money, or X, Y, and Z, you're now putting that signal, that frequency out into the universe to be received and then to be mirrored back to you. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah. That's why literally that mirroring is why I named this book Emit Time Now One, because what you emit is reflected back to you through time. These words mirror. And now is the only moment. So you already won, babe.
Heck yeah.
Like,
So
um,
go ahead.
what I hmm, what I wanted to say is it's very interesting noticing what comes up in the body in response to things, right? And, you can go down a rabbit hole with it, but like being very conscious not to do that, of just recognizing, like, okay, I've created this pattern for a reason. What I notice with back pain is when people, my back is hurting, my back is hurting. It's something from the past, it's behind you. Something is causing pain. It's some sort of dissonance, right? And it's going to be a stored energy that is something like, I find that if I breathe and listen, if I just breathe and listen to the pain that I feel, it tells me its name. It tells me who it is, right? Maybe it's something like, I haven't done enough,
Mhm.
or my family is not supportive, or any number of things that are painful thoughts. And of course,
Mhm.
because it's a pain, you are forming your body of your thoughts. So, like, listening to that pain because it's telling you that there's something out of alignment with the core of your being, and it's
Yeah.
only following directions. And then also recontextualizing pain, because pain used to cause me so much stress and anxiety. I used to, if I have pain come up, I'd be like, oh no, what's happening? It's getting worse, etc. And it can very much be like, an Ouroboros eating its own tail in that way. And having to pull back and recognize, okay, what is actually happening here? Oh, it's an energy that is moving. It's energy that's moving from here to here. It's a zing. It's moving from here to here. Okay, that's an energy. Energy, it's consciousness, it's thought. So what is being stored here? And then if I just breathe and listen, I'll either hear something or I'll be shown a memory. And it's being shown to me so I can be the loving witness, the loving God energy to hold it and be like, oh wow, aw, you experienced that as a child, and you didn't have compassion for yourself at that time because you weren't modeled that kind of compassion for that situation.
Mhm. Yeah,
Now
and
I get to love you.
exactly. And the whole mindset of the body keeps the score. Like your body is storing these traumas, storing these stories into your fascia, into your spine, into your hips. And like I noticed when I started doing more hip opening and yoga and really stretching and finding that breath, which I don't do enough of now. I do it sometimes, but not enough. Like I would see and feel emotions rise up. And like I remember being in my Ayurvedic yoga class and I'd be crying in the child's pose. And I think that's such a lived experience for a lot of us who are going through an awakening and healing is when you finally slow down, you are allowed to feel the ever now present moment, the infinite present moment. And in that infinite present moment, nothing else exists but how you're feeling and sensing in that exact second. And you allow yourself to step into that and you just greet it with grace and greet it with acceptance of whatever's going to rise within me needs to. And I'm going to allow this to fall away because I must feel it to heal it. And somatic healing is where my heart and my mind and my soul kind of all merged together in this like culmination of we did the mind work, we did the talking to talk therapy work, we did the medicine route, we did the working out and eating healthier, but my soul was aching, my soul was not feeling fulfilled. And so walking through a spiritual awakening, did you also experience where it was like the coherence of the body, mind, and soul getting back into true alignment?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It was any place where I'd been holding myself back from love, any place I'd been holding myself back from the knowing that we are all God, we are all consciousness, we are all energy, any place that I had been believing in the illusion of separation. got to come up for loving witness. And as we move through our lives, we get to experience different levels of that, different experiences, and remember and be reminded of easier and easier ways to shift and to choose, that we remember that we are 100% powerful. I am the creator of my reality. I'm the one steering the ship. I'm not being steered by any energies outside of me. It is all me, and it is all showing me, like, you have the option to opt in or opt out. So what do you want to opt into? What do you choose to believe?
It's so beautiful and such a good reminder because I think sometimes we believe the limitations. I've read the book, The Four Agreements, and it's like when you agree that you are the stories that your caregivers or the first people in your life told you of who you'd be, it limits you. And you put a governor on your life of like, oh, I can't do that. That's too hard. Or I can't do that. Who do I think I am? Like, and then you just play small and you're not living your life to the fullest potential. And that's literally why we're here. We're
Right.
here. We chose to be here as sovereign souls. We chose to awaken. We chose to experience the breath of human emotion and to have the contrast, the light, the dark, the wins, the losses, so that we could learn. And and in that for me, I felt like I finally set myself free. And now I'm like, I can do anything I want. Like, who says I can't be a best-selling author? Who says I can't be a public speaker? Who says I can't be a podcast host? Right. And creators like yourself on TikTok and on, listening on podcasts have helped to liberate not only me, but thousands of other people, millions of other people, because we don't feel so alone in the shadows. But sometimes it's a podcast that gets you that first step. So when you were waking up, what was your first step? Were you a child when you woke up? Were you an adult when you woke up? Was it kind of ever evolving?
I had multiple awakenings, or like multiple remembrances, really. So, like, the first one, I was 5 years old, and I had been taught to do a progressive muscle relaxation by my father because I was like the child that I just didn't want to go to sleep at a certain point. I slept very well when I was very young, but once I started like kindergarten, I was like, when will sleep take me? So I learned to do progressive muscle relaxation, and I began to witness, oh, there's space here. There's just empty space somewhere in my mind. So I remember one day I was just like thinking about, at that point I had been in CCD, and some of the things that they were saying, which is Roman Catholic Sunday school, or after school thing. Some of the things that they were saying did not feel good to me. Like saying that a baby is going to go to hell if it's not baptized is bull. Cause I was like, God loves, that's not accurate at all. I just like when you intuitively know something and then you say something and they're like, can you go sit in the hallway? um, yeah. And then so I, in that empty space, when I had done the progressive muscle relaxation, I had meditated. I was like, show me what God knows. Show me what Jesus knows. Show me what I can see right now. And then suddenly I saw like this big light that I perceived of as God. And I saw all these souls shooting off of it, like little tendrils with little balls on the end. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, we're all God. We are all God. So if you follow that energy back in yourself, you get back to big source. And that's what I guide a lot in my meditations. So it's like great that I'm still using that today, of course. And yeah, I was like, oh yeah. And that's why Jesus says, all these things ye shall do in greater. I was like, we can all heal. We can all move things with our mind. We can all do these things. And Um, then I like went downstairs the next day and I was like, guess what I found out? Guess parents, what I found out. And I remember my mom was like, we know, honey, but you can't talk to anyone about that because they'll think you're crazy and they'll lock you up. So then I like, she was like, just pretend to be normal at school. So then I created what I called like School Rose, who was like a character, which was like a little vapid at points, but I could never hide the nerdiness. So I was just like a very interesting person. It was just a very interesting thing. And then it would be very interesting. And at certain points, I'd remember like, hey, like, you're creating this. We're all God. Like, this doesn't matter. I remember I was getting like lectured at one point by my 6th grade teacher, and suddenly I was like, "Oh my god, none of this matters," and I, like, completely, like, went somewhere else, and then he was like, "And you don't even care," and I was like, "No, I care," and, like, it was just like but on the inside, I was like, "This literally doesn't." So it was just, like, so interesting, um, and then when I was, like, 16, I had a couple flashes from what at that point I had called past lives, but now I understand it's all happening at once, so it's concurrent.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I was in grad school, I had a lot of physical pain, and so I was breathing and meditating a lot, and I all of a sudden, like, zoomed out, saw the whole earth with all these different, like, auras, like, all these different, like, rings, like, that where each one was a person, and some, like, span the entire uh, continent, and some, like, were, like, little pinpricks, and it was just, like, very interesting noticing. I was like, "Oh my god, these are all different people's energy sizes," and, which is so interesting. It was just like it was like the flower of life, but, like, different sizes. And so I got to be reminded in that way. And then it wasn't until about 2 years after that that I really, really took the power back within myself of like, "Oh, I'm creating this. I am perpetuating this pain." Because even, like, seeing and knowing, I was like, I was just listening to what the doctors had told me, which was just what they had known. Um, and it was that experience that allowed me to reawaken to say no to it. I was like, "Actually, no. Actually, no. Um, my body can heal from anything. My body is literally constantly making new cells. What do you mean this isn't gonna heal ever? That's bull."
Right. Right.
My body is consciousness also, and it's the consciousness I'm telling it. So if I'm saying I'm in pain, I'm not getting better, I'm not getting better, then that is literally like what the instruction that I'm giving it. And computers can only run lining of code that they have.
Right.
So if that's the lines of code I'm giving my body,
Yep.
that is the only thing it can run.
And I think that's so accurate. Like, we don't really understand that we are this like almost supercomputer of source. And like how Tony, the TikTok history teacher, in my second episode on the podcast, he was like describing each part as like, this is the processor, this is the hard drive, this is like each part is important, right? One is the physical body, one is the mind, one is the soul. And it has to all kind of come together. But doctors often are just treating like the physical self, the physical body through medications and surgeries. And that's very needed. Like if you break your arm, like you might need to go to the doctor, but you have a story of what happens when you do physically hurt your body and the power of manifestation, the power of being the creator. So this is this like calibration moment for humanity where it's like, yes, Western medicine has its place. Absolutely. But then there's this higher consciousness aspect that's been ignored that was known for centuries and was just part of ancient history and wisdom that has been forgotten. And I think more intentionally erased. And when we can like reclaim that power that humans are actually quite powerful beings and that we have so much more that we can bring to the table through whether that be telepathic thought and communication or channeling or miraculous healing and being that vessel of the light and your heart vortex being this tuning fork for the room that you step into and how you can actually modulate the energies around you not through manipulation but through creation and through love, then I think that that's when humanity will fully wake up and be like, oh, we are one. And when we're all one, you want all of us to succeed, not just some of us to succeed.
Right.
You want all of us to heal, not just some of us to heal.
Yeah, I was thinking about this morning, like, I just want everyone to win. I was posting on my Instagram inspirational things about, like, "Write your book, guys. Just, like, write your book, put your art out." Um, I like to say that your art isn't the answer to someone's prayer, and that's also what I wanted to call back to is I would ask for things. I was like, "Bring this to me, like, just bring me whatever will work. Bring this to me in the easiest way." Give this to me in the easiest way. And, I understand everything is, we are all one and everything is myself. So if I'm saying that, I'm saying it to like the broader universe, but I'm not viewing the universe as outside of me. I know it's me.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just a directional thing. And it's like a point of surrender where it's like, I don't, me doesn't have to do it all myself. I
Hmm.
can just give the direction and it will come to me. And I like manifesting that way too, where I'm just like, I want this thing and I don't want to lift a finger to get it. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna feel myself fully enjoying having it, and I know it's gonna come right to me.
I
Like,
love that. So tell the world about your miraculous healing that you've had because it really like I feel like it defies logic. It defies what we know in,
the
in
nose one,
medical. The nose one is just like and the neck one, but just like how does that even happen? But I believe you with all that I am because I've seen miracle after miracle happen in my own life and people around me. So tell the world what happened with your nose.
I'll talk about the spine one first because
Okay.
if I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't it wouldn't have occurred to me to do the nose one, I don't
Right.
think. The spine one happened, and this was not the period of time where I was affirming for 3 days, like, that was just the whole general system, but about a year before that, I remember, like, the night before, I was like, "Please just, like, have me like, let me just, like, know how to fix this, how to heal this, how to, like, shift it," right? And then I woke up the next day, and then I just breathed, and I drew my energy up from the bottom and down from the top, and then all of a sudden, the muscle that had torn and slid down and was, like, bunched here, slid back up and plugged into my skull. It was just this one moment of consciousness of knowing that I am. I am. And then I went about my day, and I was like, "Okay, so we can do that now. Cool. Cool, cool, cool."
You're like, what just happened? My muscle was not attached and now my muscle is reattached. And was the pain gone?
Yes. And then I had, like, the same pattern come about with pain back there, though, because I was finishing my master's degree and I was pushing and, like, not like, it was just I ended up in so much pain. I finished my master's degree on my back, like, with my laptop ratcheted over my face, and I had this, like, split keyboard by me, so I was like I was laying in a spaceship pod typing. It was
Wow.
crazy. Would not do that again. Don't recommend. Um but yeah, it was pushing through that got me in so much pain that I was just like, I got to a point again where I could not fucking move. And so that's when the next year did the thing where I was like, I have to fix this permanently because if I keep healing and injured, healing, injured, healing, injured, like this is not gonna, like, I need to resolve the actual issues. And that's when I got to sit with myself and have the patterns come up and be like, oh, okay, I get to love that part of me. I get to move through that. But then, so a year after, so 2 years after the spine thing, the instantaneous spine thing, and 1 year after the healing, the 3-day healing, I was at a dance, which was nice because I hadn't been able to dance or go to live music or, like, do a lot of things for a long time. I was at a dance on Halloween, and some guy flipped me, like, he was, like, tossing me like a rag doll, which was fun until I landed on my face and my nose broke.
Yeah.
And it was midnight on Halloween, and I was like, "I am not going to a freaking hospital right now." So I just, like, quietly, like, went to a corner, and I was like, "Oh my," like, at first it was like I was like, "Oh my god, your nose broke, like, you have to, like, blah, blah, oh my god, you're gonna be marred," and I was like, it was, like, moving, and I was like, "Oh my god, what am I gonna look like?" And then I was like, "Well, you know that you can heal instantaneously, so do it,"
Cool.
because the alternative was not. So so I was like, "Okay, what did I do last time? I did it like, it just happened last time. What happened? What happened was I just knew it was healed. I just knew it was done."
Yeah.
So then I put myself in that state. I felt into it. I felt like, no, it's already done. And it was like so many things happening all at once in my mind, and it only, like, took like 30 seconds, right? Probably maybe took me like a minute and a half to get to the actual point of being able to do it. But once it was done, it was like, but what I did was like, okay, so I had to get the thoughts away of like, it's broken. I was like, nope, because that would be me forming my body from it's broken. And instead I was like, okay, my body's always been perfect. My nose has always been perfect. My nose is perfect right now. And then so it was like, while that was happening, it was like all these different levels of consciousness where it was like, well, your bone already knows how to knit. It knows how to align. Your DNA has all the instructions. It knows exactly what to do. Your energy is immortal. Like, you can do whatever. Like, and so it was like all these things happening so quickly, just calibrating and solidifying into, no, my nose is perfect. It's healed. It's done. And so it was like, solidifying in that any thoughts that would come up of like, "Oh, it's not going to work, like, what if it doesn't work?" I had to like hold that frame of like, nope, it's healed, it's done, and, like, let it, like, just slide off me like water off a duck's back.
Right. I think it's just so impressive. It's impressive that in that moment, you could not panic. Like, I'm sure it was, like, extremely painful if you break your nose. Like, I mean, it hurts when you get a hit in the nose, let alone, like, it's broken. And then you just have the wherewithal to go into a corner and you're like, "I'm gonna speak light into my body, life over my body, and healing over my body, and I am perfect. Everything is perfect." And then you walked away from that dance floor, and you said your nose was, like, almost more perfect
It
than
was
it was
better. You know
before.
what's funny is the week before that, I had had a little bump here from when I was, like, 6 and I opened a door into my face, and I was like, whatever has to happen for that to resolve, like, just, like, however that needs to shift, like I said, I'm throwing that out, and then so I was like that happened, and I was like, "Well, this
Well,
is my opportunity. This is what
let
I
them fix
asked
my
for."
nose.
So I actually threw that in there where I was like, "It's actually better than before. My nose is perfect. It's always been perfect. It's so beautiful." Like, all these different things at once, right? Because it's like you can hold multiple truths. It's just part of being human. So, like, let yourself believe whatever it takes to get there. Um, and like, it's so funny too, because I recently just shared this story on TikTok. Like, a couple weeks ago was the first time I shared it on TikTok because when it happened 8 years ago, or whatever year that was, I think maybe 7, 6, I don't know. Let's say 8. Um, It was 2019. Someone do the math.
Mm,
6?
6.
7? Cut
6
this.
and 25. Math is not my strong suit.
Anyway, when this happened 6 years ago, I healed it, and then I told the person that I was dating at the time, and he just said, "No.
No. No,
No."
it didn't heal. No, it didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, this was a person who, he was like, at first he was like interested in manifestation and everything, and then he was like, our partnership ended because he was like, "Can you just not talk about manifestation around me? It just, like, bothers me." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then the next day I was like, "Actually, no, I can't." So I, like,
Mhm.
just dipped, and then he and I mutually just didn't ever reach out to each other until, like, 9 months later. I was like, I hope he's doing well. You know what? When he reaches out to me, he's gonna be in the perfect energy. I'd love to hear from him." And then that day he texted me and, like, was like,
And
"Hey,
it's
can I make you brunch? I'm
it's
vegan now."
it is so, like, sending the signal out into the quantum field and it being received, and it's funny because on Kristen's episode, we talked about how she, learned about the power of, like, forgiveness and thinking about other people and how I don't know if it was Joe Dispenza or who it was, that they were, like, studying people's, like, consciousness, and when this woman was, like, forgiving people, and her brain was lighting up like a Christmas tree on the scans. They're like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm forgiving my stupid ex." And then all of a sudden, like, people were getting reached out by their exes and reached out by her family members and all these things, and then her husband experienced the same exact thing where he thought about his father who he hadn't talked to in a long time. They were estranged, and all of a sudden he was like, "Hey, you wanna come over and I think have breakfast or lunch?" And then the relationship started to heal. But it's we've all experienced that, "Oh, I was just thinking of you." And you're like, and then you just texted me. That's so weird. Why did you reach out to me? I'm like, "It's the quantum field."
Yeah, it's the thought field, it's the quantum field, it's the, um everything is you. So it's like if you're thinking of someone, they're thinking of you. It's the quantum entanglement. And a lot of people don't, they'll hear that and they'll roll their eyes because they haven't witnessed themselves deeply at that
Yeah,
point. And it's like, it just takes observation, right?
yeah.
Um, what I wanted to finish that one thing I was saying is like, I started talking about it recently because I realized I was like, oh, I told the one person and he just said no. And then I just didn't really share that story ever. Um, And I was like, "Oh, this is a story that people get to hear."
Yeah.
And so I shared it, and then it started going viral on TikTok, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love that." And I've gained like 1,000 followers, like, really quickly, and, like, it just keeps growing, and so it's like, and I've only had, like, out of, like, 70 something comments on that post, there's, like, thousands of likes, but the 70 comments, like, I've only had, like, 3 of them where, like, someone was like, "I don't believe you," or "No." And I'm like, "That's great." Like, and I was like, and also it's so funny because it's like, I don't take it personally when people don't believe it. It's just like, hey, if I hadn't experienced it myself, if I hadn't experienced exactly what I had experienced in the exact sequence I'd experienced it,
Mhm.
I would not have the same belief I have. And
Yeah.
it's because, again, we can only run lines of coding that we have, and
Mhm.
the code builds upon itself.
And to honestly to piggyback on that, I feel like it's really important for us to take a moment to think about why in scientific studies they acknowledge and study the placebo effect, right? Like if you have a set of beliefs about anything, you could consider it the placebo effect. But there's also, I think, the nocebo effect, where it's just the opposite of that. But when you have this placebo effect, there was a, I think it was one, again, probably one of Joe Dispenza's books where it talks about how 30% of these people who are receiving medication and they thought they were get chemo drugs for cancer, they weren't. They were getting the sugar pill, but their hair fell out. Like, how does you physiologically have hair fall out when you're receiving a sugar pill, unless you have the belief that I am receiving chemotherapy pill,
Yeah.
right? And that's the power of chemo, or power of the placebo effect, rather. And it's the mind going into this quantum field of infinite, unlimited possibilities and me selecting the outcome that I want. And in that outcome for those people, I'm taking a cancer drug. And when I have a cancer drug, my hair falls out and therefore my hair fell out. Like it was a choice that they made, right? Not good or bad. It's a neutral choice. It's just a choice that you made. Same thing for when you're identifying as someone who has chronic pain. Like we both have experienced severe chronic pain that was very real, very debilitating. I felt disabled a lot in my life
Mhm.
from all of the diagnoses that I was seeking. Like I needed to know why, what was wrong with me. Then I identified as someone who had lupus. I identified as someone who had fibromyalgia and endometriosis and polycystic ovarian syndrome and anxiety, depression, and blah, 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 blah. And I was thrown all the medication. And I actually didn't feel that much better. And I identified with being someone who was chronically ill and sick. And then I kept getting more ill or sick
Right.
and had hospitalizations and emergency room visits and all these different things. And when I went through my spiritual awakening and I found this like oneness and this understanding, my body did start to heal. And then I got my lupus test done because I was like, I was going through the spiritual awakening and anxiety attacks and my hands were turning white and all that whole story that I've told. And I was like, it has to be my lupus. My lupus is getting worse. My doctor's like, fine, we'll check you. But then I came back and my test was negative for lupus. I no longer had that. I'm like, this is an incurable disease. How do you no
It's
longer have?
not. Nothing's incurable. That's the thing. It's like we are all consciousness. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's so
It's crazy. Like, we were told these things, though, and then we subscribe to them, and
right.
then when we believe them, like, then that's when it manifests even further. Because then I identified fully with someone who was sick, and I was like, I was a really sad person too. And so in the grief and in the sadness and the unresolved trauma, my body was deteriorating. Like that was really what was happening. And then when I started confronting it and not being afraid of what I might find on the emotional, spiritual side and like leaning into that healing, then I started seeing my body was healing more and more and more. And then like I dip, I go through like I'm doing great. It's not been great. It's going great. It's not been great. And I think it comes down to the mindset. And so creators like you, when I do stumble upon your videos on the For You page and I'm like, oh, crap. Rosemarie's right. Okay, Amber, change your thoughts. Like, I'm just so deeply grateful for you and your content because you remind me the power of my words, the power of my beliefs. And I think that's why I'm so called to have you on this podcast is to share with the collective the power of their beliefs, the power of their thoughts, and what they're creating
Yeah.
because you're choosing it for a reason.
I feel very called to share a story from myself that was recent where at the end of September, I went to a family member's wedding. And then the next day, or actually on the way home, I started like my back started hurting in this specific spot. And it was super painful and like couldn't move my arm and all this stuff. And like got to observe my thoughts in those days. And I was like, wow, if this were a few years ago, I would have amplified the shit out of this. I would have been in a story of like, oh my God, I herniated a disc, right? Because that's what it felt like. That's what it had felt like when I had the same experiences like with discs popping out, which by the way, you can undo because I've done it so many times. And it's just like not accepting the story. So what I did was I was like, oh, my body's telling me to rest and relax and let go of the story that had come up for me. And so I got to witness the story I'd been telling. The reason it sprang up from my consciousness, got to love it. And then I also got to revise it. So if you haven't used revision, anyone listening, revision, it's like tell a new story. So instead, where I was like, oh my God, this is what this is, I was like, actually, it's the best possible outcome. Actually, it's this. Actually, it's that. Actually, it's the most minute thing. And then what happened was it went from being a herniated disc to a pimple that was pressing on a nerve. And so I did the same thing with my eye a couple weeks ago. I ended up having manifesting some sort of thing there. So it was like, and this is so funny too, because it's like I don't often have this happen. I've been having lots of shifts, which are great. But I started telling the story. Actually, no, it's the best thing. It's gonna just, I didn't instantaneously heal that because I didn't want to focus in that way. And I was like, it's gonna heal in 3 days anyway. I don't really care. Like, so I just like took it as a sign of like, let me take a lot of care of myself, let me rest a lot, etc. What has my body been asking for? What kind of thoughts are my body asking for? Like, what do I want to form myself from now? So it's just like revise the story and say, actually, no, it's the best possible outcome. Actually, no, it's the best, like of all the things that it could have been, it's actually the simplest thing to resolve. Because if we tell the story of like, it's this big thing and then we live in that, even if you have a diagnosis, or even, I'm not going to speak for other people. I found that even that I had diagnosis, even though you had the diagnosis of lupus and you had been tested for it before, changing our energy, changing our story. We are energy. Your illness, your disease is just you. It's just you. It's not something outside of you. It's not, even if it's like a parasite, quote unquote, parasite caused it. It's just consciousness. It's all you. It's parasite beyond sight. It's something that entered your body that you were unaware of, and it's been running in the background so long that you think it's you. So when you quiet down and listen, you get to realize like, oh, actually, I'm not a piece of shit. Like, oh my God. Like, oh my
Right.
God, I'm love.
Yes. And like it opens up the whole universe. I swear, like when I went through the healing journey, I I did not know how loved I was. I did not know that I was love. I did not know that I was capable of loving so deeply and profoundly, and people feel it so easily. And I think a lot of us, when we have painful stories, painful histories, we get stuck in this time loop. And, I've interviewed Wendy Roth and her episode's going to be coming out. And she talks about how like we get stuck in time and space in a memory. And when you're stuck in that memory, like you literally are feeling it and reliving it over and over and over again. And you can't get out. You're frozen in time back here when you could be liberated if you choose to be. It's a choice that we make. We don't have to stay stuck in that trauma and that moment of hurt, but for some reason, a lot of us stay there because it's serving a purpose. In that moment, our soul is choosing to continue to experience this. But I hope that everyone who's listening to this knows that you have another choice. You have another choice that you might feel delusional. You might feel cuckoo for Cocoa Puff saying that my body is healed, my body is whole when you're feeling in that moment excruciating pain, because I've been there. Rosemarie's been there. And it's like this dissonance between reality of what you're experiencing and the infinite possibilities. And you just kind of have to surrender to it and be like, why the hell not? Like nothing else has helped.
Yeah, I
Why not
might as well just
try to be
move through it.
delusional?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So do you work with people to help them get out of their stuck mindsets?
all the time. That is one of the things I love doing is helping people architect their new reality. Have a course called Create Your Reality that it's 5 video modules, 8 audios, including the progressive muscle relaxation, the calm meditation, the manifestation meditation, etc. All these things that people can just get on demand at any time. I also offer one-on-ones and personal coaching for manifestation and law of assumption and shifting your mindset, choosing the new thoughts and how to perpetuate, how to stay in the story, how to let go of the old story. And just like one more point of like, when people are repeating an old story, guys, pay attention. If you're telling a story and you say it in the same way all the time, you hit the same beats, you say the same words, recognize that is a recording.
Mhm.
You recorded that. You're recording it in the moment. You're courting it, tying it to yourself and
Oh,
replaying
whoa.
it. So you get to detach from that stored energy, as I like to call it, and tell a new story. Tell a new story instead of telling it that same way. Because if you are attached to that, there is a perspective on that story you have not witnessed yet. Because if you were whole and complete on your witnessing of it, it wouldn't still be here. So if you keep telling a story about this person was rude to me and you haven't witnessed the story objectively and said, oh, wow, that person was going through something and I'm
Mhm.
compassion and love for both sides. suddenly it has no hold over you because you've witnessed it as God, as the completeness that you are. Remember who you are and see through the eyes of love.
Oh my gosh, all of that. Yes. Like when you said the recording, like I'm hearing the words recording and I'm hearing the English word recording. And then when you said it, you're recording. And I'm picturing that tethered cord and how we can cut cords and those types of things. Like you are tethering yourself to this pain over and over and over again in the sake of storytelling, in the sake of trying to get compassion and empathy from other people because you don't fully love and surrender to your own self truly. And you're like, why am I tethering and cording myself to something that hurts me or a person that hurts me or a place that hurts me? And then just retelling it over and over and over again to feel hurt over and over and over again. And I think a lot of us, like, especially for me, I'll speak for myself, I guess, as someone who identifies as like a history of being a trauma survivor, like I've gone through a lot of trauma. I would trauma dump in a way that was like funny, in a way that was like, oh my God, here's the crazy story that happened to me. And I would tell it, and people, I would look over at people and they're like, oh, good God. And I'm like, oh, that wasn't normal, was it? And then it was like part of my identity that I was those traumatic things. It was part of my identity that all these bad things happened to me. And there's a way that I think I wanted people to feel bad for me, maybe, or I wanted people to like,
You want love,
I wanna feel
compassion,
loved. I wanna feel like I matter because of those bad
recognition.
things happen, recognition, like validation, all of the things that humans want to feel. But when you go to the other side and you see every single character and every single scene as a lesson, as helping you grow and heal, and that you agreed to it in some level, you agreed to that contrast, you agreed to that lesson because it taught your soul something for your highest and greatest good so that you can finally be who you really wanna be, your most authentic self, your most healed self. And you can see that that is another fractal of God, another mirror of yourself, another piece of the puzzle that is of the whole. I forgive all of it. I forgive everyone. And it really hurt. Like those lived experiences really hurt. And I did not want to be betrayed. Like consciously, I did not want to be betrayed, but I never get here without it. And so, how can you give anything other than gratitude for it? Because it pushed me so outside of my comfort zone to come here and do a podcast and talk about higher consciousness and the quantum field and all of this stuff that I never had access to before. And now I do. And now I have peace. And now I love myself and I love all others. And I feel like I've unlocked this door to infinite possibilities of reality because now I remember I'm the creator and I get to meet other creators who are consciously creating and producing beautiful art like yourself and poetry. I'm a writer now. Like, what? I was never a writer before. And like the poetry, how it just flows out of us. And it's a way of putting the unseen into like a little vessel of hope for other people. And you being a poet too, I want to know like how did you start tapping into the poetry side, the creative art side?
Oh, well, I had noticed when I was in school, like high school, I always enjoyed like when, once a year in English class, they'd be like, this is the poetry session. And so they'd have you write a poem. And I just always thought it was fun and easy because I was like, well, you know what all the words, words that rhyme. You can think of a word, time, chime, rhyme. Like you can just do that. Um, but it's so funny because I remember like back in 2016 or something, I had an experience where it's like we were like a bunch of people were in a circle and like all like playing a rap game, and I just kept like being so nervous and choking every time. um but then I found my confidence and my flow like years later because again, it was the healing experience, tuning into receiving the energies, seeing it as it flowed as painting first. Then my poetry started coming back. I had written a couple poems like throughout the years. Like I remember I wrote one for healing when I was like still deep in the pain. But then it was like I healed and then I was like writing a lot of affirmations. And then one day I was just started to write poetry and I was like, I love writing poetry. If I just write a poem every day, that's time I'm spending in joy and time I can cultivate these things I want and put the words I want to speak into it. So I'm going to just write a poem every day. And then it was a couple months later when I actually started doing that. And then I started doing that. I was living in Austin at the time when I like did the poetry every day thing. And then 6 months later, I had a book. And it was funny because I didn't intend to write a book, but people just like, I would share some of my poems and they'd be like, let me know when your book comes out. And I was like, my what? My what now?
You're
They're
like,
like,
"That's
yeah, your book, you're going to
true."
put a book out. Like you're having a book come out.
You're like, "I'm just writing poetry." No, I'm not. And like, "Oh, no, I am. I am."
And then so I put together my first baby, which I'll show you, is Cosmic Poetry for the God in you, because it is really to remind people like you are God. We are all God. We are all consciousness. Remember, every word you speak, you are creating. As I speak, I create. Abracadabra. That's what that means. And then, so that's the painting. That's the cover.
So stunning.
And yeah, it all flowed out easily. And I just let it, right? And that's part of it too, where it's like not overthinking. There was part of my experience of coming to consciousness where I got very into conscious languaging. So then I would kind of nitpick all the things I was saying. And that kind of, that, you know, going a little overboard with some things where it was just like, oh, this is just actually like inhibiting my expression at a certain point. So let myself tune into, okay, what is authentic and right and true for me to express in what way? And then like, yeah, now I have 4 books of poetry, 3 that are out, and 1 that's scheduled for December 15th.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so what are the names of your books so we can all find them?
Cosmic Poetry for the God in You. I released it under Rome Wilde Bodrucki because at that time I was not using my first name, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And my second, nope, this is the second one. My second book is Quantum Poetry Games with Myself by Rosemarie Bodrucki. And you can see that body is, I took this picture of the
Mm,
body through my bedroom window with the prismatic window clings.
so cool.
I have Emit Time Now 1, which of course I'm going to show you the painting for that cover.
So cool.
um, and this came out in January, and this one is 88 poems to tune you into the energies you desire to emanate and entertain you in the process. Because I think that, yeah, I want to feel these great things and like, let me enjoy it at the same time. Because sometimes when people get into meditation, they can end up not having fun. And I think that the point is to have fun and enjoy. So let's do it in an enjoyable way.
Did you find that meditation was not always like silence and it was more of like you're painting and you're creating, you were in like this meditation flow state? Because that's what, like when I'm painting and when I'm writing, I'm not always still. Like I'm dancing and like just trying to frolic
Absolutely.
is really meditation for me too.
My favorite book series as a child was called The Circle Opens, and it was a sequel series to, I forget what it was called, The Circle Begins, but it was by Tamora Pierce. And in The Circle Opens, there are these like little mage students. They each have cool powers, but they're teaching other students now. So like they were the students in the first book. Now they have slightly younger students. Um, and I learned about active meditation because one of the girls couldn't just sit and do it. So he gave her a staff meditation. So she had like a bow staff and she would like move it in a specific sequence. And that was like her getting into flow state and meditation. So when I began meditating again, I remembered that and I was like, oh my God, yes. And then I considered it all meditation. So when I tune into frequencies to do my artwork and my poetry. I select what do I desire to create from. And that's not always the case, right? Sometimes I'll just have rhymes come to me and I'll run with it because it's fun. And it's very interesting to notice what drops in. But like oftentimes I will select a frequency. I will select, I want to amplify love in the world. Let me tune into love. What colors am I seeing? Great. That's what I'm going to put on the canvas. Oh, I want to tune into love. What words do love want to speak through me? That's with the book that I'm putting out in December. I wrote it all from the frequency of money because I heard in a meditation that someone was giving, they were like, money calibrates as fear for a lot of people. And I was like, that sounds wrong to me. So let me tune into the actual energy of money and see what it's calibrating at. So every day I would tune into money and I would just like let money speak through me. And so it's like a lot of like money is the breath, money is flowing through you, money comes when you call it. Like I'm always here for you. It's like really wonderful, but there's 101 poems in that book. I'm really excited.
101. Dang.
101. There, a lot of them are much shorter than my other poetry books are more like the Poetry for Consciousness series is very much like most of those poems are, a page, 2 pages, 3 pages. Money Honey is very much like some of the poems are like a few lines. And just let it be that like tune in, let money speak through me. Some of them are longer. My favorite one is, I think, number 46, and that's like the longest one in the book, but it was just so fun. It was like very wordy and wordplay, and that's like my joy. So that's my favorite. Um,
So Money Honey's the name of the new book that comes out.
yes.
Oh my gosh, I love the name. Ugh, it just makes me feel like, "Come on, bring the money, honey." Like,
Yeah. Yes.
you're so wildly talented, so I don't think it's any, coincidence that you have your little nickname alter ego as Rome Wild, because you're out there roaming wild, and I feel like you're just such an inspiration for so many people, and this is such a helpful concept to remember that we are the creator and that we have this power and we give it away so effortlessly. So I always say I call my power back to me for every person, place, and entity across all time and space. I call my power back to me now. And I say that every day because you give your power away when you compromise in a way that goes against what your heart really desires. And when you're sacrificing yourself for the benefit of others, these are the micro ways that we give our power away, but when we call it back to ourselves and we just create through love and through fun and not trying to just get rich, you're doing it through purpose. You're doing it through meaning and the collective goal of helping somebody and helping yourself along the way. I think that's where the true wealth is. Like, I'm wealthy in abundance of creativity.
Yeah.
How lucky am I?
I'm so wealthy. I pour poetry so easily. It just flows from my lips like prose, and I sink into the sea of consciousness. And as I breathe, I find me.
Yeah, girl. Is there any poetry that you want to share? Is there your favorite one that you want to tease to the
From the new
world?
book?
Whichever one gives you the most, oomph right now.
Well, I was gonna share one from Emit Time Now One. Can I share two? Can I share one from Emit Time Now One and one from Money Honey? You're
Please
getting
do.
the exclusive scoop here, Amber.
Please do.
This is the first time someone's hearing Money number 46. I didn't give them names. They're just all numbers in this book.
I love it.
But this one is my favorite. Um, from the perspective of money, I am here with you. I see as you see. You direct the fantasy and the cut upon the screen. I'll deliver all my lines with the script you've given me. I am money, I move free and hit the marks you tell me. I am open, produce me, and I'll show up where you tell me. I'm the character you cast me as and how you choose to sell me. Market and deliver me, choose my very best scenes, replay them 50,000 times for commercial means. I have the face of leaders, presidents, and queens. Shining gems of value proliferate my deeds. Eagle-eyed I see you, tender currency, energy attentive as you pull all the strings. Vibrate me your violin, sing out your noble steed. I am no separate noble gas. Those days are gone of need. When unified in spirit mind, the body is healthy. Count your blessings, one, two, three, the I, the us, and we. Money, money everywhere. I'm present currency. Money, money everywhere. I'm forever where you think.
Girl. Yes. Yep. That's the one. Number 46. I want it plastered on my wall as a reminder. Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank
It's
you.
so I'm just did you wanna share another one from them at Time Now?
I would love to. I mean, I'm always down to share poetry.
Share another one. I really wanna hear your other poetry.
Okay. I
I
know.
think it'll inspire people to just, put their creations out there, don't be afraid, this is what you're meant for. You're here to share your gifts with the world. Share away.
So this one is called I Tune the You. And I teach law of assumption a lot of the time. So that's what you assume to be true is the reality you will experience. Whatever you assume, and you assume it like putting on a coat, like putting on an outfit. Like you assume the position of the person, you assume the role. I'm the one who money flows to easily. I'm the teacher. I am the wife. I am the marketer. Whatever it is, as you speak, you create, right? This poem is called I Tune the You, and it's capital U, like universe. And it's in law of assumption, we teach everyone as you pushed out, right? So it's like there's infinite versions of Amber here that I could tune into. There's happy, sad, in pain, contemplative or, any combination, if I have a story about her saying like, "Oh, she's always so angry and sad," then she can only show up in my reality that way. Even if she were to show me something different, I'd have that belief, and so everything that would support it, I'd hold that. I'd witness her getting sadder and sadder, right? That's how consciousness is. So I have to let go of that story and choose the version of her that I desire to experience of like, wow, she's so rich, she's so happy, she's so thriving, she's so famous, like all these things of how I desire to witness my friend and know her to be, right? Know her pure soul. You hold the consciousness of a person just as you hold the consciousness of yourself. And so I tune the you is very much like not being ruled by the outside world, the projection, it's just a projection of in here. So if I want to change out here, I have to change in here first. It's follow the leader, and I'm the leader.
Yes.
So I don't tune myself to
Right.
you. You tune yourself to me. My universe, I manifest these wild and wonderful things. I set my frequency to love, so love is always what it brings. My soul's emitting time now one. I'm always winning everything. I am prophetic. I am magnetic. Love seeks me out. What I speak is what's present. I am the prophetess polishing essence. Light up my life with a clerical rhetoric. What you've been searching for is already here. Feel in your chest how your heart beats so clear. I am the love. Perfection is here. I'll say it again. Resonate through my sphere. I am so loved, successful, and rich. I am so wise, and I feel my palms itch. I know my life will be greater than this, and I'm glad where I am. Gratitude for what is. Signing these checks as I feel them flood in. Signing these deals because I'm partnered with bliss. I am inspired, both God and Goddess. I create joy because I know how to live. I am the oracle. See it come in. One and the other loves all that there is. I see the flood of the waves cashing in, carry abundance through mine, hers, and his. I am the sign, and I'm saying this is the life, and I'm saying I win. I won it all. I am one consciousness. I am this one. I won all that there is. Fluently flowing, I flower forthwith. Fluidly flatter myself as witness. All I decree is what manifests. I affirm and confirm it's all done with a kiss.
Yes. Damn, girl. Damn. Like, the way I'm just, like, vibing and flowing with that, and I can't stop smiling, like, if you're watching the video, like, you're just gonna see me with, like, this huge grin on my face because I'm like, "This is a spell that I need to tell myself." I have this book, by the way. I'm gonna read which page is this one?
Mm.
Because I have that book at home, and I'm like, "I'm gonna go home and read it," because it's like you
5.
page 5?
Page 5. Emit Time No. 1 by Rosemarie Bodrucki, linked in the thing.
Get it, guys, get it, because I'm telling you, when I hear you speaking this, it's like it is like a spell. It is this
Yes.
abracadabra. It's why not believe these things? Why not speak these things over and over again until you believe them to be true? Because placebo effect is measurable and real, and why the hell not? Like, all I felt in that whole time was abundance. I felt love and abundance created that.
Yeah. Yeah. I tuned in and, like, brought it through. Everything is energy, everything is consciousness, so just let the consciousness structure itself. It already has the words, and so it's like my part is to get the conscious mind out of the way and just let it flow through. And there are other pieces in the book where I very much, like, put more conscious thought into, but they also flowed easily. Like the subordinate palindromes one where it's like swap pause with wolf flow, where it's like pause and swap there. So it's mirrored words, wolf flow. So it's like I had a
Gosh.
lot of fun with that one, but like that took more conscious effort than just like, but what I find is like it's already God is a poet, right? The universe is poetry, so it's like it already is there and it's just flowing through. So I just get out of the way and let it happen. When I was like more self-conscious about what I was thinking, that's why I would interrupt my flow, but instead I just get the consciousness out of the way and I just let it come out. And if it's not perfect, who cares?
Uh-huh.
Like sometimes I'll have like a blank in a poem because I won't know what word is supposed to go there and it's like consciousness is actually leading me on a new like word finding thing. So it's like there's a word that's supposed to go there. I don't know it yet. And then so I look up like, okay, it's this many syllables. It sounds like, or
Mhm.
this is the meaning of it. Let me look up all the words that have this meaning. Oh, that's the one. Cool.
I love it so much. The creative process of just like exposing the soul and it comes out in a way that's deliverable for someone
Yeah.
to receive. I can't thank you enough for sharing your creations with all of us today. And my next and my final question that I usually will ask everybody is, what do you have as a message for those who are awakening, either new to the awakening or already in the thralls of it, because we are rapidly ascending and a lot of people don't know what's happening in their body and they don't know how to get to the next phase, the other side of finding the light. So what message for the collective do you have?
Create love. You are always creating. You are always creating a story. If you experience energy moving through your body and you create that it is pain, that it is a bad thing, that is ascension symptoms, you don't have to create that. You can just say, this is energy moving. And then what happens is it'll leave faster because you're not making a story about it. You're not storing it of like, oh, if I experience something good, then I'm going to get sick first. Like, don't tell yourself that story. That's bull. Like, tell yourself the story of, what's the most loving thought I could have in this moment? What's the most loving thought that this other person could have in this moment? What's the most loving thing I can experience today? And then give it to yourself. Let yourself feel fully receiving it and let it just come in. I love everything is a manifestation of consciousness. So manifestation is something you're already doing. Creation is another word for it. You are already creating. You're creating it up in here. You created stories a while ago that you've been perpetuating. Be conscious. You're awakening to your consciousness. You are awakening to the fact that you are the creator. You are steering the ship. Anything you tell, any story you tell about the way the world is, do you like that story about the world? No, then stop telling it.
Mhm.
You're the one telling it. Tell a story of like, and everything's getting better and better, and everyone's getting more and more abundant, and everyone's thriving, and everyone's remembering their wellness, and everyone's remembering that their body is health. And everyone is healthy, and everyone is innately healthy, and everyone's innately wealthy, and everyone's receiving this consciousness, and the systems of the world are getting better. The systems are waking up because everyone's waking up, and like, this is just what's happening. There is no there is no force that is going to stop you because you are God consciousness, and there's nothing that stands against God. There's nothing that stands against pure love. And not in a religious sense. I am not religious. I do not subscribe to religion because what I know is much broader and beyond it. A
Yeah,
human religion does not account for all the beautiful things that we've witnessed. And, that's a whole different conversation. But basically, create. You're creating right now. Create a good story.
absolutely. I like to say that you are the director, the producer, the writer, the actor, and the audience. You better create the life of your dreams because it's a fun one if you choose it to be. And there's so many plots and twists and turns, and make your life the best movie that you've ever wanted to watch because you're the one who's experiencing it. You're the main character of your story. Might as well have fun while you're doing it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. Where can people find more of you? Because I know that you're going to land and resonate with a lot of people, and I know they're going to want to find out where you're at. So where can we find you?
You can find me all over the internet. You can find me on my website, rosemariefrancis.com. I have many courses I offer throughout the year for intuitive development, creation, book writing, manifestation, all that jazz. You can send me an email at joychannelcoaching@gmail.com. At Rome Wilde Arts on Instagram, as well as at Joy Channel Podcast. Follow my podcast as well. Which is the Joy Channel Podcast. And then TikTok is at Rome Wilde, ROMEWILDE. Can I speak some affirmations? I just have them coming in that I want to say.
Yeah,
A couple affirmations. I want you to take a deep breath and repeat it after me. You can repeat it in your mind or you can say it out loud. Number 1, I am powerful. I am powerful. I am the power. I am the power. I am the creator. I am the creator. I am the powerful creator of my reality. I am the powerful creator of my reality. I am the loving creator of my reality. I am the loving creator of my reality. I am a master manifester. I am a master manifester. I have 100% mastered manifestation. I have 100% mastered manifestation. I completely understand everything there is to know about creating my reality. I completely understand everything there is to know about creating my reality. And I do it so well. And I do it so well. My body is perfection. My body is perfection. There is nothing to heal from. There is nothing to heal from. I remember I am God. I remember I am God. I am love. I am joy. And I am perfect. And take a deep breath in. You can give yourself a sweet little hug. And exhale and let it go. Because you are perfect and you're beautiful and you deserve the whole world. And you get it because you're God. And of course, you're giving you the world.
Of course, you're giving yourself the world. That was beautiful. You took me to a new place.
Good.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Yes, queen. Oh my gosh. You are such a powerhouse. I'm so excited to get to know you more still because every time we talk, I feel like I know something new. And I'm excited for the world to know your name and to know the positive, power that you're putting out for everyone and just inspiring them to create the lives of their dreams and to not be afraid of what anyone thinks because who freaking cares? It's your life. Go live it big.
Yes.
Right. Thank you so much again, everybody. This is really happening. Like we're going through a mass spiritual awakening, and creators like myself and Rosemary and all the other people that you've seen on this podcast are stepping forward and sharing their stories so that we can destigmatize what it means to heal, what it means to go through a spiritual awakening and really expansion of consciousness. That's what is happening for all of us right now. So this is light beyond the ashes. And just remember that when I heal, you heal. And when you heal, I heal. And then when we all heal, we rise, we create the world of our dreams. We're in this together. Keep going. We've got this.